and we just say this guy. Okay, tic-tac-toe game. Fine. So if you see here, we kind of we have this interface. Okay, and so they said it's also called as nuggets or crosses or X's and zeros. Okay, which is a pencil and paper game for 2 players who takes turn making spaces in a 3x3 grid. So it is a 3x3. So we are talking here. What are we talking about here? Multi-dimensional array, right? Obviously a 2D. Please let me not use array here. Two-dimensional list. No worries, right? So which you can flatten and it becomes a 1-dimensional list, right? Consisting of what? 9 columns. So the player who succeeds in placing 3 of their marks in horizontal, vertical, or diagonal row is a winner. Okay. So let's get back here. Please just let me know if it starts buffering, please. Once it starts buffering, please message me on my WhatsApp. Okay. So I have placed and this player placed. Okay. Now I move here and this guy places. Okay, I'm like, this fellow is smart. I move there and he places there. Now I win. Done, I won. Over, I'm the winner. So this is the rule. All right. So before this, actually, we're going to see it from the GUI. Before, remember, whenever we talk about Tkinter, okay, we are talking about what developing desktop application using graphic user interface versus whatever we have used with IDLE, it was what? CUI. And we dwelt on that yesterday. Okay. So since we've seen this now, that means there will be rules, right? Horizontal, vertical, and diagonal. Okay. Now looking at this, we need to kind of, let's say we have a block of code. So before this now, we know, right? So zeros and X's, fine. So we have a code, let's say we have this, a 2-dimensional array. Okay, populate it with values. So initially let it be 0, 0, 0, first row, 0, 0, 0, second row, 0, 0, 0, third one. Fine. That's such that we can actually have indices for this. Okay. So if we refer to now, we know that we have 3 cross 3, such that there are what? 3 rows and 3 columns. Altogether, 9 what? Items are here. Now we can give them names. Row 1, column 1, row 1, column 2, row 1, column 3. This again, row 2, column 1 to row 2, column 3. Row 2, column 3, and this is row 3, column 1 to what? Row 3, column 3. No worries. That means, fine, we need to kind of define some methods. Okay, so initially all spots are open, yes or no? So some rules. So initially all positions are open, right? All positions are open. So we need to do what now? We can create a function actually. Okay, so that means we can create a function, call it what? Get open position. Okay, or you call it spots for short. Okay, so this now we take some arguments, yes or no, for rows and for columns. Okay, or you can call them X and Y. And what will it return? It will return what? Returns a list, yes or no, of places, yes, of places that are open. What is it? That has never been marked, yes, never marked, or not yet marked, not yet marked. Because if I say never marked, it meant differently. So not yet marked can be marked in the future. So this function is done. Okay, so that means after this now we can actually check now if that position is a valid position, yes or no. Fine. So we now, before you make a move, we can now say, please remember functions must be meaningful. So we look for another one which we call check valid move. Yes, obviously R and C. Okay, now what will it do? So this takes an argument, it takes a column and a row, okay, representing a potential view or potential move. Returns what a row slash column, okay, that is valid, that is valid. Now please listen, what is the validity here? As you have seen in the rule, that if I'm the first to populate this, let's say I'm using X's and my opponent is using crosses, sorry, is using zeros. So if I'm able to mark this, yes, so I have won. Okay, so he should not allow me to do this. That's it. So now once that happens, then if the position is valid, then I can make a move. Yes or no? Fine. So here that means maybe we can actually return true if valid, otherwise return false. So returns what? Return true, else if valid, else return false. Return false. Fine. That means it's invalid. Okay. Once it's valid, then what you have to do, you call this method or this function called what? Move. Yes or no? So you can call it make a move. Okay. Virat Kohli says make a bold, I think take a bold step. It's not Virat Kohli, it's Kingfisher. Yes. Fine. So make move. Again. So this follows after what? Step 2. Right? Fine. Only what populates marks the position, marks the corresponding position. So what happens now? You see, these 3 methods will be called until what? All positions, until somebody wins. Yes or no? So this happens until there's a winner. So that means I need to check for a winner. So I will say check for winner. For a winner, no worries. So who wins? I don't know who is the winner. So now I have to say, okay, only 2 players, yes or no? So there will be player 1 and there will be player 2. Okay, now it returns either of the winner. So this again, obviously, okay, either of the winner. Oh my goodness. I think this will start buffering now. Here is fine. So what do? Let's just execute the program. Okay, so I'll maximize this and let's get back there. All right. So once we get back here, we are actually looking into something. We are actually looking into something here. Okay, so the first one, let's start here. So this is the program. Okay. Please, once it drops, just let me know, guys. Okay, so this is it. And this is what we have just said, right? So we populated it. So initially, let this player 1 take control. All right. So we get opens positions. No worries. Fine. Now, move through the rows. And we know that there are 3 rows and there are 3 columns. Okay. Now the player 1 is his positions will be marked with 0s. No worries. Now if these spots are open initially, now let's check if it is valid. All right. Fine. Valid? Yes. Otherwise invalid. Then make a move. After that, check for the winner. So the winner should satisfy all the conditions. Yes or no? That he must have filled either of the horizontal, the vertical, or the diagonal positions. Fine. Done. After that, now we now say, okay, fine, this is over, and then we have to print the winner. Fine. So the first person might be moving with x's. Actually, I should have done it with 0s, x's and 0s. Okay. Okay. So this person has been able to initially we populate with dash dash dash. Okay. And then after that, either of these who wins, or this person. Okay. And we are going to print it. Finally, we call the game. Okay. So this one says, okay, fine, enter the spot. So you have to enter 2 arguments, right? So 0 0. How do you move through the rows? How do you actually move through this? So let's say the output is like this. When you run this, you get something like this. It will be marked. So you have a grid which is 3 by 3 dash 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 and then dash dash dash. Fine. So you want to move. How will you move? You move using the word indices. Yes or no? So row 1, column 1. If you wanted here actually, so you can actually say, okay, fine. All right. Okay, it all depends now. Remember, since index starts from 0, you can call this row 0, row 1, and row 2. So if I say 0, 1, okay, I'm referring to what? 0, 1. So maybe like I'll mark X here. If I want this, I can say 1, 1. So 1, 1 will come here. All right. So if I wanted this, maybe like this obviously would be a valid move. Okay. So this is 2, 2. Yes. Fine. All right. So this holds through. If you start from that also, so remember that we have to move it through this, and it's like we call like this. Okay. Say 1, that like that, 0. Okay. Fine. So let's see what happens here. Now, after this is done, we now check. Okay. If the number of moves, now if you say if that of the winner, okay, equals the other opponent, that means there is no winner. It's a draw. Otherwise, what I will say, okay, player who has won. Before, why am I telling you this? We're going to modify this using Tkinter, and before that we have to study some Tkinter commands. Okay, now let me comment this out and let's run this. So just do this now. So you see it's actually running in the console, and this is a problem here. Okay, so we take this, drag it up, and you see here, okay, initially I have this. Okay, now it says enter spot. For which player? First player, right? Player 1. There are 2 players, obviously. So just imagine if I enter 0, comma, maybe 0. I wanted the first one. Okay. So which one is marked? This position is marked. Yes. So for player 2, now listen. I'm not playing against the computer. Please listen now. I'm not playing against the computer. I'm just playing against myself. So I can cheat. Yes. Fine. Let me try making it a draw. Okay, let me try winning first. I'm player 1, I want to win. So player 2 tries to enter the same position. It will not go. Again, it calls, okay, fine, enter spot. Okay, now we should have actually called enter valid spot. For player 2, no problem. Because see, only one is still marked. And remember, player 2 will be using a different symbol. Player 2 says, okay, fine, I want to take this since that one is marked. So this is a valid move. Done. Now, okay, it's my turn now. Let me go diagonally. I have taken 0, 0. I can take 1, 1 now. I'll say 1, 1 is valid. So this is marked. Okay. Now, this person might want to block me. Let's say I will say 2, 2, just to block that guy. 2, 2 is blocked. So I will not win. So I might move to this way again. I will ask, okay, fine, 2, 0. I'll take 2, 0. Okay. I can take 1, 0 first, but let me take 2, 0. This is done. And this guy might take, okay, he says, okay, 2, 1. I want to win. Fine. Now, I will now take 1, 0. And I have won the game, right? 1, 0. Done. Now you see player 1 wins. Yes? Fine. Because I've been able to place it here. Okay? But this is actually not what we wanted to do today. This is just to show you, okay, fine, that this was kind of what we wanted to do using what? Tkinter. Okay, so before that, let's review a couple of things. Okay, I believe this is clear, and I just hope the network hasn't dropped yet. Okay. So let's look at a couple of things before we proceed. So over to Tkinter application. At least there are basically 3 steps here. What are the 3 steps, guys? Have you forgotten what we did yesterday? Since it's a model, right, that is present, so we don't need to do any pip install or something like that. That once we install Python, it's there by default. So what's the step 1? We did that yesterday, right? So we import all the necessary whatever. We import this Tkinter. Okay, so import Tkinter. How do we import it? We say from what? Tkinter. Import something, right? So we need to import every module that is present in this. We don't know what they are, so we say import star. So if this is done. So after this is done, what do? We create the root, and then we have to use the main loop. That's all. So this is done. The next one is what? We create what? The root. So say root, and we use an object. Now obviously everybody uses like this tk, okay, like this. So we have created it, okay, an entry to the program, and then we have to run it. The third one is actually called the main loop. Okay, its main loop is called, that's the main loop. So if you're interested, you might actually look into what is here, but our aim is just to start developing applications. Yes or no? So let's remember something here. The first program, okay, because I said fine, moving forward we do this. So the first program we did was not first program. Couple of programs we did was that program that asks you to enter the temperature. Okay, and once you enter the temperature, what we did was what? We converted it, right? Upon what? Into temp plus 32. Yes, so we converted it from what? Fahrenheit to Celsius. Done? No worries. So can we turn this into an application? Please listen. Such that it will show us something like this. You ask the user, enter the temperature, and then you give the user a box. Okay, and after that, now at the end of this, okay, fine, result is, or converted whatever is what result is. Okay, converted whatever, converted value is something. We don't know what it is. And you have to maybe have another button that says, before you say converted value, another button will say convert now. Convert. Okay. So if we want to do this, right, guys? So we looked at some stuff yesterday. Okay. We looked at labels. We looked at what? Grids. Okay. I think we did not dwell more on grid. So let's take some stuff now. Do a little study on label. Okay. So what is a label? As the name suggests, so we need a label here, and usually we call that grid yesterday, okay, to compact everything in rows and columns and then get it printed there. So this is a place for what? A position of your program on the screen. A place or position of your program on the screen. Program on the screen. Why? Whatever we've seen, this was actually running in the console. Yes or no, guys? This is running in the console. What I was referring to this guy. Okay, it's running here. So we want to take this out from here and position it somewhere on the screen. Okay. Now, when we position this now, that means we have to create a label object. Usually the label is an inbuilt function, but we can actually create an object so that we use that actually to position it on the screen. Okay. So example, we know that maybe like we wanted to say welcome. Okay, and with this welcome, we now say, okay, fine, this is the label function, yes or no? And then what I want the text to say, I have to use this argument. Say text should say only welcome, yes or no, guys? Text should say what? Welcome. Welcome back. If this is what it's going to do, now I have created this now, right? So I can use this now as an object and use a grid method to position it where exactly I want it to be on the screen. So I'll say welcome dot what? Grid. Okay, it's going to position it somewhere on the screen. So you can actually do this without passing an argument, but yes, it knows that row, maybe like I wanted it to be 50, like that column, I wanted it to be like 50. Okay, so equal 50. So it's going to take it from, now if I leave it at 0, 0 by default, so it's going to keep it at the top or whatever. And we saw some valid positions yesterday. Okay, so after this is done, actually, we see that even this label can take other arguments. So apart from this text, only text, label can take other arguments. So what is present inside this guy? Apart from text, it can take what? Fonts. It can take what? So that means text equals some text. Fonts equal valid fonts, okay? Like Times New Roman, Verdana, Calibri, and all whatnot. Okay, so now we are talking of font face now. And it can actually take color also, okay? So it can actually take color. And remember, you know, it also, when fonts can also be bolded, it can also be italicized, it can also be underlined. So if you wanted italics, you say italics. Okay. If you wanted underline, you say underline. If you wanted bold, you say bold. And then since it takes color, so what kind of color will it take? It takes foreground color. So you can say FG as foreground color, you give some color. Okay. And the color you can use hexadecimal, but it's better you use the name. Example, if you want red, you say red. Okay, so and then you say background color. If you want the background color to be blue, you say blue. Okay, fine. So if we have looked at this actually, so we now say, okay, fine, what other stuff can it take? Okay, now if you check, you see we can adjust the width and height. Yes or no, guys? So the width shows, obviously, you know, width will span, okay, this is your screen, right? So this is your width. It all depends on how you view it, width, and this is the height. H-E-I-G-H-T. So normally we say breadth and length. Okay, so can you say length and breadth, but it's actually called width and height. Okay, so we have to use this now. And then what else? There's something that we need to know, okay, which is what we call what? Configure a method. So usually if you want to change the label properties, we have seen label. So let's look at configure method. Okay, this guy also stopped. All right. So inside label, in label method, okay, we can actually change, we can change the property using what? Configure. So listen, guys, please listen. That means that I have this label, right? So what I will do, I will now say label dot what? Configure. Actually, this sounds grammatically correct. I want to configure something. That means maybe I want to change something to, maybe I want to change a color from something to another. Yes or no? Okay, fine. So I have a text. So maybe I say I wanted to say this text. we say okay, done. Okay, and now with this, okay, I now want to maybe modify this text, okay, maybe adding some background color and some foreground color to the text. Fine. So the same thing I'm going to do, and then I'm going to say, okay, fine, say background color, maybe I wanted it to be green, and then I wanted the foreground color, maybe I wanted it to be yellow, anything. Now it depends on how I'm playing with the color. Okay, so enough of this, let's just see something practically. Let's go back to our program and start explaining whatever we didn't understand there. Okay, so we get back here and we start with the next one. All right, so coming here now, what did you notice? Okay, so this is the program, the second one. We want to work on this converter. Okay, so please look carefully. So we said fine, you have to import the necessary libraries, and I will show you what happens when you say from tkinter.ttk. Okay, import this. So this is going to import even additional stuff also that will make the program look more attractive. But for now, let's just run this, okay, with the default one. Now define a method called calculate. Yes or no? Inside this method, fine, remember we call entry.get, okay, and convert it to what? Integer, because whatever we needed has to be what? At the end of this, an integer value. Okay guys, now I use this format specifier, okay, to say fine, I wanted to give it to one decimal number. Actually it's a floating point number. Okay, fine, so let's use like decimal only. Maybe if you're getting 36.24 something, we can say only 36.2. that's it. Now entry.delete, I will explain this in a while. Okay, so at the end of it all, we have to this like a destroy method only in Java. Okay, so this is done, I have to close the entry. Now this is the beginning, this is importing the basic thing, and then you have to create what? The entry into your program. Okay, so the root is created, and usually we set title using what? Root dot, using this object root, and then we set the title called temperature converter. No problem. Okay, message label. Okay, so we have this label method, and then we are storing it inside message label only. No problem. We said okay fine, enter a temperature, give a font whatever name or font name here, and give the size. Okay, now for this output label, that means where we want this to be printed. Okay, so we are drawing a box actually, so we wanted it to be of the same thing, and we want the width to be maybe 4 or something. And when I have this button which I've created, and the text I called it convert. Okay, and then once I click on this button, what is the action it should do? It should call this method called calculate. We have defined this function called calculate, right? So once I click on this button, click on convert now. Okay, it should call that one. Okay, so I can say convert now, it should call this function called calculate. No worries. Now I needed this now to be positioned on the screen. Okay, so the message label, which is this one, starting from the topmost. Okay, the entry grid, move little bit. Okay, so just imagine little position to the right, and then this moves little down. Okay, and then the output. Finally call the main loop. So 3 steps. This is the last step, second, and first. Inside there you write whatever you wanted. Okay, so we will execute this now and see what happens. So here I'll close this one and let's run this. Now you see, look here guys, I'll minimize this so you can actually see this popping up on the screen. Yes, so it says now, please look here, after this I shifted this little bit, so this is the what? Input to my stuff, and then this is my convert now. So if I call this, nothing happens for now. Okay, nothing happens, because only when there is a valid string here, or sorry, a valid, obviously is a string by default, but we have converted it to integer, only then it should do something. Okay, so let's convert 100 Fahrenheit, I think. Yeah, sorry, this convert from Fahrenheit, Celsius to Fahrenheit, please. Celsius to Fahrenheit. Okay, then you see it is 212. Okay, converted. Fine, and it is only to what? 1 dB. Fine. So you might actually do something that when this person will modify this, and when you click on it to say it will give an alert message telling you to enter only what? Valid, sorry, enter a number or something like that, enter a valid number. Okay, and maybe if I enter something like G, it should throw an error. See, it's not doing anything here. You got the point? So it should say only enter what? integer numbers or something like that. So what if I enter the dot? See, okay, so we should handle this. Fine. Now this is done. I'll minimize this. Let's get back. Okay, so the first one is over. All right, and then what are we going to do next? So we've seen this. Yes guys, we've seen this program, and after this is done, now we need to kind of, what did I say? Let me just add this now. Okay, please listen. Whenever you import this Tkinter library, it will overwrite whatever you have here. See, let me import both of them. And at times, please listen, at times there are methods that are implemented here. Okay, that sorry, methods that are implemented in this that are not implemented here. So just watch what happens now. The interface will change. Now you see it gives an error actually. This font, please look here. TCL error, unknown what option font. Where is it? It says incompatible import of what button. Okay, so what are we actually doing? Okay, before this happened. Yeah, thank you, Ritin. Please listen. So I said in this case, okay, we wanted actually to modify this, yes or no? So leave this method. It's just a user-defined method only, which you call callback. Okay, so in this I say, yeah, okay, button clicked. Please listen. Okay, so when I click this, initially I set the label. Okay, say not clicked. All right, guys. Now when I click on this, it should call this, yes or no, guys? So let me just show you something here. I will just remove this guy, comment it out. Just watch this carefully. Now watch here. Look here, guys. So it's so small. It's so small. Obviously, you can use the width and height property to make it bigger, or you just double click on that. Okay. So what you do now, watch here, guys. Click me. It just changes to the, okay, fine, button clicked. Okay. Click me. Nothing happened again. So once it changes, it's like the configure is destroyed. Please listen. I'm printing a message to the user, telling the user, okay, click me. All right. So once the user clicks me, what it will do, it will call this configure. So see, the button action changes to what? Yes, I've been clicked upon. Okay, I've been clicked on. Okay, guys. So this is why we actually use this configure. Okay, and it's kind of a method that is inside, maybe a class that is inside your label method. Fine. So again, I think the network is just buffering today, but anyway, maximize this and not clicked. Okay, so once I click it, it happens. And please remember here, I did not even add the what? I did not add the title. And you know what to do now. You should add the title. Okay, all right, fine. So this is it. So I'm going to close this now. Okay, so before we look into Lambda Trick, okay, please listen. I want to explain what this Lambda is. We have actually seen the Lambda expression. Okay, guys, we have actually seen it previously, the Lambda expression. Okay, but maybe, please listen, maybe in case if you are seeing something here which I have not explained. Did you see this row and column, guys? So what exactly is this? Like, why did I say call span equals 3? Okay, can you see this? See message, obviously you know, right? Rows and rows, right? So I'm saying call span equal 3. And then this was call span equal 3, and this was column equal 2, and this was just what? In this grid, okay, only row and column. Okay, guys, so let's understand this from our HTML point of view. So you are creating a table. Let's go back here. Notes on what? Grids. Little note on grids. So can I call it grid method? Maybe let's call it grid method. Okay, instead of calling grid method, I'll call it arguments. Okay, so what we know so far is whenever we use this grid, fine, we take other arguments inside it, right? We say rows and columns, yes or no? So this takes rows and what? Columns as parameters. So just imagine you are creating what? Please remember, grid is a kind of it's a container that tries to compact your output in rows and columns. So giving it in a columnar, maybe tabular format. Say I have something like this. Let's understand this briefly. 1, 2, 3, and 4. So in the first case, what do you have here? Row 1, column 1. Yes or no? Now, row 2, column 2. Let's say I want row 1, column 2, no worries. Then row 1, column 3, and row 1, column 4. I'm talking about this one. Okay, so what I meant here is I wanted only 1, say 2 to be here, and then here I want these 2 to become one cell. Yes, guys. So I want these 2 to become one cell instead of 2 cells, so that it will look something like this. Okay, so I will erase this and then redraw this guy once again. It will look like this. So what will I do? I need to span it what? Horizontally. So don't forget, when we say call span, we have to say equal to. So that means it's going to stretch this horizontally. Stretches it what? Horizontally. Across horizontally. Across what? Across 2 cells. 2 cells. That is in this case. Okay. So this stretches it. I hope you got the point now. So if you wanted it to, if you want to stretch it vertically, say I am here 1. Okay, this is 1. I want 2 and 3 to become what? One cell, such that it will look like this. So what I should do, I should now say what? Row span. So it's going to span 2 rows. I can say row span equal 2. So this stretches it vertically across 2. And if you look at it properly, you'll be able to understand one thing here. Please, guys, horizontally refers to rows. Yes or no? So there are 3 rows here. Row 1, row 2, and row 3. And how many columns are here? 4 columns. Column 1, column 2, and 3, and 4. So this makes sense now. If I say call span, I say stretch it. Okay, I hope you got this point. So this is what is happening here. Okay, and I believe this makes sense. So with this now, you can actually play with the behavior, okay, of this. Okay, so that is what we did here. Okay, guys, fine. Now this is it. So you can actually say that, okay, there are actually 3 words. See here, the last one I came to the last row, and then I wanted this to span what? Multiple columns. That's it. Okay, now I said before I explain the next thing, what was it? The Lambda Trick, right? That we need to look into that. Okay, you are okay with this, right? What happens when we use the configure method, right? It changes it and calls the next word method that you have declared inside that. No problem. So let's do a little note on this now. Lambda expressions. Fine. So next is what? The lambda function. So we know lambda, we use it mostly as an anonymous function or something that was similar to my inline function. Thank you. So where we kind of wanted to, thank you so much, where we kind of wanted to limit the method to a particular block of code. Yes or no? So in this case now, we are going to use this as a kind of a funny way to populate information. Okay, so example. So using this lambda function now, let's say our aim was to do what now? To pass information, say from a method, maybe we call that method call me. Okay, so this method, we want to pass information from this method now. Okay, and this method, please listen, we have what? Several buttons. You see, initially what we have done is we created only one button. Yes or no? So we created one button, and whenever we click on that, an event gets triggered. But now we want this call me now, maybe or count, let's say count, okay, method to count from 1 to 10. Okay, so that means we needed 10 buttons like this. Okay, that to 10. So what we can do, we can actually create this. All right, so what do we need to do? We need in the, it's about yes or no, guys. So say we wanted this now, how will it look like? We say, okay, say for, remember we have created the button. Okay, so we start by saying, okay, fine, label, create the object of this label. Okay, so use small letter here, and then this is label, right? It's an inbuilt method, no problem. This is done. Now we are using grid, right? So this object we need, we say label dot what? Grid. Fine. And then we wanted what? Row, maybe like 1 equal 1, then column equal some number. Okay, please listen, once you start doing this, you know how to position it on the screen. Fine. And let's say we want it to span maybe 10, right? So the first one, and we want this to span what? 10. Yes, guys, fine. So this is done. Now what I need to do now, I now need to create my buttons. Now buttons, we move from 0, yes, to what? 9. So I can do 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. I say 0 to 9. Yes or no? So this will create what? These buttons 10 times. Okay, so if I wanted it 10, actually, yes, 0 to 10, no problem. I want to create this button. Okay, x in range of what? In range of what? I'm saying off, in range of 10, what will you do? This button now, you have to increase it, yes or no? So button of what? X, fine, equals something. We needed a text that will appear on the button. So the text can be anything, okay? So say maybe text equal here, maybe I'm counting from 1, okay? So now, and if I'm counting from 1, that means I need to create something here. Let's say I call it count, that will hold from 1 to 10, agreed? And I have to write it properly actually. I should not just write 1 dot 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 to 10. I have to write up to 10, so that I will now say, okay, fine, what I needed was to call this count now and pass what? This variable inside it, okay? And now here comes my what? Lambda expression. I'll say, okay, command will be equal to what? Lambda, lambda, fine. So I will use that variable and move through it. I can say maybe like y equal what? X, yes, colon, and then which method am I going to use to do this? I call it maybe like count method, fine. I call this count, and then I pass this variable inside it. That's it. So why do we need this lambda expression? We want this lambda expression most times when we want to print multiple what? Buttons, or perform multiple actions that you have to do in line. See here, this lambda is not on its own, right? So we call it lambda magic expression, something like that in this case, okay? So let's see that in action. So what this will do is going to create something and then it populates it for us. I hope you got the point. So at the end of the day, we have to call the main loop, fine. And listen now, we might actually want to know which say button is clicked. So let's run this. So you see here, I'm going to comment this out. Okay, this is done. Come back here, guys. So you see here, when you look at this properly, okay, I imported this, and I'm going to show you kind of an improvement on this code. Okay, please listen. Imported this, no problem. My interest was this English alphabets. I'm going to count from A to Z. I have a method called callback. I use configure. I hope you believe now why you know why we need configure. Oh my god, network is out. I don't know. So on this now, when I say I want to say, okay, button, which button is clicked? Button A, button B, or whatever, which one is clicked? Okay, now that's why I'm using this format specify, no problem. And this is the entry to my program. Let it span horizontally, okay? Let it span horizontally, fine, for 26 times to hold all the variables. No worries. Now I create a list to hold these 26 buttons. Please look here. Now call the main loop. When I call this main loop now, please look here what happens. So I'm going to get something here. Okay, I'll maximize this screen better. So you see here, guys, title is not given anyway. So I click here, it says button A is clicked, button 0 is clicked, button Z is clicked. But did you notice something here, guys? Once I maximize it, it's not stretching and covering this. It's not covering the environment. I mean the workspace. It's not covering it. So this label now is still empty. So whatever I have here is just fixed permanently to a particular place on my screen. We will handle all this later. So for now, what I will do, please listen, I'm going to go here now and then try to prettify it. So I will import this. Let's see what happens, whether the method is present in that or not. Now you see, this, I did not do anything. I just imported the prettified version of what? Tkinter. Okay. Now what happens here? There is a problem now here. See, guys. So it spans, no problem. It stretches it and it's giving me this mouse over event also. This is listener. It's giving me this kind of effect, but some texts are truncated. You can actually see them. Some characters are truncated. When I click it, say button Q, click, no problem, button N, button, whatever. But if you see again, it is positioned at a particular place. Okay. So we have not mapped this properly. And after RST, UVWXYZ is gone. Okay. So now this is a problem which we have to solve now. Okay. So the problem will be part of the assignment, but I will attempt solving it now, and then you have to complete this problem. Now look here. Very simple. So we see what is happening. So what we can do is, okay, close this. We know that there is not enough space, okay, to hold this on the screen. What we can do is to break it into what? Two what? Lists. By default, I'm taking it as a string, no worries. But now, can I break it up into, say, maybe alphabets, whatever, and then another one, such that I can actually position one of them on the screen? So if you look here properly, you see, if I move from maybe like maybe to O or something, and I just stop here, and I break this one, I call it alphabet 2, okay? I say this will become another thing, okay? Say maybe to MN, okay, I should have made it equal NO, okay? Then I will remove NO from here. Now maybe I broke it into equal halves, okay, 13 13. Now please look here, guys. So I'll save this now. For now, let me see whether this will be completely positioned on the screen. Then I'll go and handle all this side. Fine. So I press F5. Now it says this index out of range, obviously, because I need to reduce it now. So this I have to reduce now to what? To 13. Yes or no? How many is there actually? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 13. Fine. So he obviously out of range, right? 13. Now I want it to span 26, no problem. But in this case, now I move from this to 13 only. Fine. And then whatever. Remember, this is like it's not there. It's like as well as being commented out. Fine. Now you see, okay, please listen, guys. Okay, I hope you can see this now. Now you see it is kind of okay. 1, 2, 3, 4 till there. If I click, it says L is clicked, this is clicked, that is clicked. No problem. Okay, I'm able to do something here. Yes, guys. So this is fine. But how about the rest now? Now watch here. So what I will do is I will try to space this out. You got the point? Such that when I put this other one, I'll still have a window. This window now where I'm printing it, this label should be down. Okay, such that I have whatever I click A, B, C, D till here. After I continue MNOP, will be printing only down. I don't want it to print here and there. Okay, now what I can do is I will close this now. Let me show an attempt to fix this problem. So look at the fifth one. I use this a trick, a funny example, and I broke it up into two. Fine, alphabet and alphabet 1. When I call this, listen. One root method should be there, the entry, and I have modified it accordingly. It's spanning 13 now, no longer holding 26. Though even if you use 26, that was why I left this, it will not throw an error because there are these are extra memory spaces. It doesn't matter. Okay, now this is done. What I did now was the same callback method. Please look here. You have this callback, right? And I want to call it once. Please listen. There is a problem, a bug with this. Okay, and I want you to fix it yourself. And finally the entry. Okay, fine, this is another one. So here I'm using, instead of saying alphabet here, I'm saying okay, alphabet 2 1. Actually I called it alphabet 1. Okay, so the problem with the other one is alphabet. Okay, fine. And then I'm using this to iterate, to move through it, to iterate through this, and here I'm using J. No problem. Fine. Callback, no problem here. Now you're going to get something funny here. So let's see this. Once I run this now, okay, this is similar to what I wanted, but let's check whether it's doing what exactly I wanted it to do. Okay, what did I want it to do? I want, whenever I print this, that guy is gone. Whenever I actually run this, okay, whenever I click on any button, example B is C button, look here, it's now calling button 0 is clicked. Please listen now. The control is gone here. It says button 0 is clicked. T is clicked. U is clicked. V is clicked. W, X, Y, Z. Got the point? So this is done. But how about A? When I call A, it's still mapped to this. I hope you're able to follow, guys. So I have gone till here and I want you to just debug this. Very easy. What was the problem? The problem was when we try to prettify this, right? It's spanning across the entire page. Okay, so see here, we thought, okay, this is looking little better. If it's looking little better, can we break this into two so that when I click on this, it will map to this? When I click here, it should say C is what? Printed. Because sorry, C button C is clicked. Okay, So I will leave this and continue with the next example. I want you to fix this. Very simple. Okay. Now, so this is it. I believe I'm still audible. Now let's move to the next example. There's something we call global variables. You know them by the keyword called global. Don't worry. So let's do a little study on global variables. Okay, what are global variables? We come to this example. So this is done. We get back to this. We say, okay, fine. Global variables. Be like when we want a variable to be repeated, yes, without having a difficulty to maintain where the variable is coming from. See example now. We want this variable to be accessible. Very simple. To be accessible from any method, from every method, right? In the class. Now, I don't want to be using class here, but yes, we did that in OOP, okay? From every method, okay? So, and why do we need this actually? There'll be a time, let's say, we are going to see that program. I clicked, right? Say I clicked something. I said I clicked, A clicked, button A clicked. Now, button A is clicked. Again, when I click button A, it's telling me button A clicked. Again, clicked. So I want to say button A is clicked once. Now I'm clicking it again. You should say button A is clicked twice. Again, button A, so that this variable now we say, okay, I'm still actually accessing this container. Yes or no? I'm still here actually. I'm still here. So I will not say, okay, button A is clicked. I can actually say, okay, fine, button A has been clicked. And again, as I'm calling this now, okay, this might be the second time. This might be the third time. Okay, this might be the fourth time. That means irrespective of where I'm going to use this action, okay, you should be able to map to what? The variable, which was the super variable in this case, if such a word exists, or the global variable. Okay, so let's see that in action. So if you get into this program now, you see here, fine, I just called the variable number of clicks. No problem. Initially, number of clicks is 0. Yes or no? Fine. As you can see, this actually now is 0. Initially, once I click, it should increment. Add 1 to it. Now says number of clicks. I clicked what? I clicked 1 once. I clicked 1 twice. I clicked 1 thrice. Fine? Okay. I did not. I said, okay, fine. Not clicked. Click me. Okay. Now, once I do this now, I have to run this program and you will see. Okay. So I'll run this. So once I run this now, what are you going to see? Please listen. Maximize. It says not clicked. Once I clicked 1 time. Okay, actually it should be once. Click again 2 times. Click again 3 times. Click again 4. Click 5. Like that it will be moving. Okay. So, and again, you see this is also not formatted. So when will it exit? We didn't set a condition, right? Let's say after you click like 50 times, you should say enough of clicking. Are you playing with me? Or just print some message, okay? So we should not click this. This runs till infinity. So you should handle this. You can use a while loop now. Don't let this run till infinity. Set a condition. Maybe after the 50th time, you should break and come out of this loop and say enough of clicking. Go have a rest. Something like that. Fine. So this is it. And let's move to the next one. I hope you got the concept of the global variable. Now, we need to actually look at this, our tic-tac-toe program actually. Okay. So first thing, please listen. First, let's create, we know the rule. Okay. That was why I gave that example in the beginning of this class. You know the rule. Whichever player that was able to place, that was able to fill the positions, either diagonally, horizontally, or vertically, okay, before the other opponent, that player is the winner. Fine. If at the end of the day, none of them was able to place it, then it's a draw. Okay. Please listen. The first player. Okay. You can actually use this X and whatever. 0. Okay. So instead of, let's stick to what we have. Okay. Fine. Okay. Configure text. I wanted this to appear. So this is the first player. Okay. And then this is the second one. No problem. Okay. So this is fine. Okay, so I'm going to populate this with what? 0. No worries. Now, initially this is there. Just creating the bound. For now, nothing will happen. Please listen. When I call this program, let's see. When I run this program, nothing will happen apart from the boundary. Look here. And with a button, okay? With a button, all will appear like that. And then the width is 3. And the background will be yellow. Okay? And use these lambda expressions, right? To draw these 9 what? Small buttons. Those buttons are actionable because once you click on them, right, if you implement the method, then it will do what now? It should populate some stuff, right? Either populate it with 2 x's or with zeros. Fine. So let's run this. Now you see here, background is 0. Now once I click, I think I'm running the main method actually. Okay, fine. I populated with 0. Fine, initially. So this is what is there. Okay, for now. So if you see here, this is not doing anything. Just populate it. Okay, and the background color is foreground color is like white only. Background is this yellow. Okay, so you see here, nothing is happening, and these are the buttons. Okay, done. Now I know, okay, fine, this is done. The boundary, okay, or the bounding box is done. So let's now make it add some intelligence into the program. So if you want to add intelligence into the program, you should be able to now what? Implement the states method, right? And what? The winner method. So there will be states here. What are the states? What are the states, guys? So if it's active, then who is in that state actually? Sorry, 1 minute, guys. Let me just get this clear. Okay. So you see, here I think I messed this up. 1 minute. This is not what I wanted. 1 minute, guys. You should see there is no other version of X. So this is wrong. This is wrong. 1 minute. Okay. So check this. It should be coming from here. It should be coming from here. Where is this X coming from now? Okay. So either of this or yes, this player. Okay, done. Okay, this should work now. Sorry, that should be this. Fine, I'm using capital. I think capital O. Okay, so let's see. Yes, okay, this is what I wanted, guys. Okay, so I wanted both cases to be present. Okay, initially it was only one case. I hope you got the point. So fine. So even if this is there, okay, we are not checking valid moves. We are not checking anything, and we are not printing anything for now. So let's go and improvise on this program. All right. So we look at the next one now, which is an improvisation of this. So before that, let's understand what we are going to do. Okay. So you see, states has to be added. Okay. And then what? The winner. Yes or no? Fine. So that means that what? If you now want to know like which one has been taken, right? Please listen. So initially all the states should be empty. Anybody should be able to add anything to that, whether it's first player, whichever player starts or whatever. Okay. So first player, if he starts, there should be kind of empty space for him to make a move. So come down here. These are the states added. Okay. This was what you've seen before. This actually complete the program, but still, just wait. This is what you've seen before, and these are the states, initial states. Fine. So after that, now we now need to check what? Winner. Yes or no? So go up here and see this method also. Was to check for the winner. Yes. So if you try to connect the dots, going back to the previous console-based program, what you notice was the conditions, there will be constraints, right? Please listen. I needed to call this stop game from anywhere, either in this or even when I'm checking the callback. Okay. So first thing, the player, okay, should be accessible. Fine. So if this is the first player, let's say this is the first player, he can make a move. So for him, the foreground is blue, white background is white. The other player, foreground is orange, background is black. Fine. When I call this check winner, fine, it should check here now. What am I checking? Moving from, let's say this is 0, 0, down to what? 0, 2. 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Fine. Ensuring that is not equal to what? 0. That means that what now? All these states, he has completed all the whole states. Yes or no? 0, 0, 0, 1, 0, 2. Definitely, it shouldn't be 0, 0. Fine. So he has won actually in that case. Hence, stop game is true. Once it's 2, you have to print this guy wins. Okay, I did not print it actually. Okay, player this has won, and then you end the game. Fine. So this is true if it is true in this case. If it's not true, now you check, did he move across what? Though this is horizontal, did he move across the vertical? Sorry, this is diagonal. This is diagonal, please. This is vertical. Horizontal, diagonal, okay, and vertical. Got the point? Fine. So if he moves horizontally and he fills it up, he's 1. If he moves diagonally, he fills it up, he's 1. Moves vertically, fills up the place, he's 1. Okay, fine. Otherwise, return false. Okay, fine. And in this case now, just move through this, use lambda expressions to call this, and use move across the rows and the columns, checking for the conditions, whether he has actually matched the state. So this was what he populated it with, and this was the initial state. At the end of the day, this initial state cannot be like this. It has to be populated by either of the player. And if finally there was no definite player, he should say it's a draw. Okay, so let's run this. I believe there's no indentation error. Let's see. So if you run this now, okay, end of line while scanning, yes. Which page? 298, 297, 298. Okay, 297. Yes. What is this? I should close this guy. All right, take this out. Fine. Fine. Okay, so let's go back. Fine. Remember now, please listen. It says, go back here, it says blue with white. So foreground is blue, background is white. That means it's pointing to the first player. Now this first player, look here. Oh, name X is not defined. Another error. This is fine, right? Foreground, so this first player, now the control is on player. So I expected a move, X to be there, yes or no? Now, once I click this move, now it has called move function, but nothing is happening. So I will close this. It says name X is not defined. So find it. Oh, here. Yes, guys. What am I taking? I'm taking arguments for rows and columns. Yes or no? So I have to pass it through here. Yes or no? X is R and Y is C. Because that's what I'm checking here. So let's see. I believe this is fixed. Fine. Okay. So once I have a valid move, let me maximize this. And see the funny part. When you maximize, it's not actually squashing, it's not extending and covering the screen. So minimize it back. So this is the first player. It has made a move. Okay. Now the second player tries to predict, okay, and blocks here. So for the second player now, what is the background? The background is black. The foreground is orange. So fine. Done. Now the first player says, okay, this guy preempted what I want to do. I choose this. Now this player is saying, okay, fine, what I want to do is, okay, I think this guy might go here, I'm going to block him here. Okay, I said, okay, fine, I have to win this game because I'm the one playing against myself. I move here and let this dummy fellow move here, and finally I move here. Now watch here, guys. So once I am able to do this, now I have actually, see, no other state can be chosen. See, all these states now, though they are empty, it can no longer be chosen because it has become false globally. Okay, look here. So this is the first state now. Fine, but this is not what I wanted, guys. I want to say player this has won. You got the point. So this will be improvised. Okay, and I want you to make an attempt. Remember, I have given 2 assignments now. What was the 2 assignments? Let's start from this last one. Work on this code. I'm pushing it out right away. Work on this such that you have to print, okay, player this has won. Fine. And obviously these moves are no longer available. And remember, this is actually the preemptive move of what? The first player. Okay. This is the second assignment. The first assignment is what? And then you'll understand. We wind up with that. Okay. Now look here. So this was what I wanted you to look into again. So you see here, what is the problem now? When I click on A, it's saying button N clicked. When I click on N, button N clicked. When I click on O, button O clicked. Click on Q, button Q clicked. No worries. This is working. And listen, I want you to span it across 2 lines. Don't say, sir, oh, previously is working, why we have to take the trouble? This is what I want you to do. Just try this, okay? So map this with this. Just little refactoring you have to do, and that's it, okay? So fine. Before I wind up, I need to introduce another concept, okay? I need to introduce a small concept. So what is it that we want to look into? We want to do a study on what I don't know, frames. Please listen, frames. So I will start a new thing here. I will just scribble some stuff and then we wind up with that. So you see, in this program, frames, an extended study. Extended study. Why are we extending it? What did you notice in the previous example, the alphabet example? Recall the alphabet example. What happened here? We had some stuff, right? So we had something like this. And there we had these buttons, right? A down to Z. It was like this. And what were we doing actually? We went and we were clicking on each individual button. We were clicking on this button. Yes? So I don't want this to happen. I want to have one button that say this button is sitting here. I'll say click me. So when I click on this, okay guys, it should say okay, I want this to be linked to all these. Instead of clicking button A, click button B, click button C, click, I click on this, you start moving from button A to button Z. So 26 times. You got the point now. So because of this, okay, we will look into how we actually do this in the next class, okay? And with this, you can actually now start varying the position. So frames can be positioned anywhere. So this is at the center, not literally at the center, but how do you move it keep it at the center? Vary rows and columns. If I want to position it here, say I want this button to be positioned here, what will I do? I have to vary it, maybe like R will become maybe like a row, will become maybe like 3, and col will become 0, right? Something like that. So I wanted something like this to happen. You got the point? And then if col is 0, and obviously the rest should span, so I should use what col span, something like that. Instead of 0, I can say okay, maybe 26, because it's going to span through this, okay? Now with this, we have seen something actually in this tic-tac-toe program. What did we see? Colors. We have seen colors. So we can actually dedicate a session to what? Working with colors. How do you actually use them? Under which methods can you use them? Okay, maybe you call it under which class. By the way, color is spelled C-O-L-O-R-S, American way. So now you see here with Tkinter, okay, there are actually many colors that are available. But if you watch something that appeals to the user, I believe some of you are studying user interface design, UID. So you see, you should use what? Cool colors. Okay, so if you're going to use cool colors, you might mostly want to use red to say indicate what? Error message. And maybe use yellow as what? Warning. Yes or no, guys? Warning. And then use blue, sorry, use what's that now? Yellow as warning. Then use green as a go signal, right? Something that is right. Right option. Okay. WRI. Which one? Right option, right and wrong option. Okay. So if it is an right option, so you can actually use green for that. If it's warning, you can use that. If it's an error, or maybe you have chosen the wrong option, so you can use what? Red. Okay. And remember now that you might not actually remember it. Yes or no? The names, like you don't know cyan. How many colors are there? 16 million colors. Yes or no? I think so. So you can now actually use their RGB notation. Like you remember your HTML RGB with A meaning opacity, but we cannot use that opacity attribute here. Say RGB, if you say 255, 255, sorry, 255, 0, 0, that means I wanted red to appear. So if I say what? 255, okay, maybe 255 and 255, what will appear? Is it black or white? I don't know. I think black or white. I don't know. You should find out. So if you say 0, 255, then 0, green will appear. Fine. All right. So that means that okay, you should understand equivalent tables of this, okay, so that in number systems you can actually compare them. What is maybe like the binary equivalent of a particular stuff, okay, and we can use them because you see many a times we use what we call what hexadecimal notation. So colors, you can actually use hexadecimal. For example, using hexadecimal values, we have seen it actually. We have seen it. So if you like the color, you go to the color palette or color gradient. Maybe I will show you something. I think that should be better explained practically. It's called color palette, right? COLOR, color picker. I think color palette or color picker. So if you come here, you see here, guys, just watch here. So if you open this now, you see there are colors that are here. This should become clearer. Okay, look here, guys. Exactly, this is what I was referring to. So you see, oh my goodness. Here, I think I should save it and show. Yes. So look here. This is gray and it is hash A7AAAD. This kind of color, if you're interested, you should refer to it using this word hexadecimal number. So you see hash, it starts with hash and then you get some stuff there. Small letter also there, capital letter also there. Okay. So this is it. So this is WordPress admin color palette. So this is for the WordPress admin and it looks so cool, especially these areas. Okay. So there are so many of them now. So if you specify that inside a label, say example now, I needed that color. So I'll come inside a label. Okay. I say label now. Okay. This is the object of the label function. Inside here, I wanted to print a text that says welcome back. Welcome back. And inside this text now, I wanted it to have a background color. We use that. Okay, we want it to have a background color of what I don't know, not red, not green, not blue. I can say hash something, maybe and remember it's a string, hash maybe 2FF0, maybe something like that, FFA, something like that. I don't know which color will appear. Remember, if you open with single quote, you have to close with single quote. If you open with double quote, you have to close with double quote. Okay, I hope this makes sense. Now, in case guys, if you want to convert the RGB word to the equivalent integer value, you got the point, guys? So you can actually do that and we will see that tomorrow. Okay, so on this note, I want to wind up, but I want us to go through what we did today because of the internet issue. Okay, just only 2 minutes and we are done. So we started by looking at a review of the Tic-tac-toe program, right? And we executed this program from the console only. Yes, so we saw that from the console and we saw, okay, it's not looking cool. Actually, it wasn't looking cool and we needed to modify this. Yes or no? So we ran it and we understood the logic. We ran the program and it wasn't looking cool. So okay, fine, since we have started GUI programming, can we make this to be more appealing or attractive? So what we did was we reviewed the basics of this Tkinter. Okay, we reviewed the basics, and reviewing the basics, what did we do? We've seen labels. Okay, we saw grids, we saw buttons, etc. Okay, and then we reviewed our temperature converter program. Yes or no? Okay, and in this case we made it a kind of an interactive program, little bit. We've seen this, we've seen that, and entry boxes and buttons, and very importantly we saw this, the Lambda Trick. Okay, it was a magic. So we saw this, and after that now we saw the use cases of global variables. Use cases of what? Global variables. After that now we reviewed our tic-tac-toe example program, trying to improvise on that. Yes or no? We improvised on this and then we looked at what? These frames and colors. Okay, so on this note I want to wind up.